Today, my guest is Nikki Moore, who is a friend and also has been a client in the past. Nikki is going to share with us her journey along the pathway from confidence to lacking confidence and then back into confidence again. So please welcome Nikki Moore. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Sophia.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us here on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. All right, let's get into it. So what I'd like to ask you today, Nikki, is just to begin with, could you share a little bit about the path that has led you to your work you do today?
Well, I'm currently the nurse manager of a small community hospice. So it's a unique facility where we care for people that are on their end of life journey. And I never really expected that I would be a palliative care nurse. Prior to being a palliative care nurse, I was an emergency nurse where I guess I'd been working for 14 years in a trauma-based setting and my nervous system was frazzled. So I needed a change. Yeah, I was seeking that change and it came to me. Yeah, I've moved into palliative care and then I was working there and then was sort of groomed to become the manager. So I'm now leading a team of nurses and I have found myself in the spotlight on numerous occasions having to do public speaking, which is not something that I expected. But I guess seen as it's such a unique facility, people want to know about it. And death is a curious thing that people quite often don't talk about, but want to talk about. So,
Yeah, interesting. So when you think back over your life, have there been times when using your voice felt easy or natural for you?
yeah, I mean, definitely when I was in my teens up until my early 20s, so I was quite, I guess, a vivacious character who was, if there was a microphone in the room, I was on it. I loved singing, I loved performing. I was in, all the musicals in high school and I was the singer of a band as well, played in a few different bands and just loved performing. And that, I guess when I look back on it, there may have been times where I was nervous prior to a performance, but getting out there and giving it a go and being on the stage far outweighed any nervousness that I may have felt.
Yeah, so youth and excitement, something different, expression, all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
So
was fun.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never really thought twice about how you expressed yourself? Were you more just in the flow?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I guess I was always conscious that whatever performance I was about to do was going to be, rock star good, because you don't ever want to be anything less than that when you're performing anyway. You're there to entertain people. So you feel that, I guess, that need to be of a certain standard that's usually set by yourself.
Mm, mm. And so was it fairly easy for you to just step into that standard, would you say?
Yeah, when you're sort of younger, they don't necessarily line up. So, um, I think because the expectation was that I would always be able to hit that standard. There was no self-doubt.
Wow, I love that. Was that something that you were trained for or something that you just learned to do?
I mean, I had singing lessons, and drama was I learned drama through my schooling, and so I guess that helped to give me the confidence. But the rest was just self-taught, and a love for that type of entertainment and ability to be able to have fun.
Yeah, nice. And so that was a season in your development. Were there other seasons where speaking up felt more difficult or uncertain for you?
Yeah, most definitely. I guess my self-esteem, over the years has taken a couple of blows. When you hit adulthood and, I probably made choices that were detrimental to having a good life. So, they were a blow to my self-esteem. Yeah, I think motherhood also probably was another blow to my self-esteem. I guess you become quite isolated when you're a mother, and going from, being on maternity leave and just being a mother and a sole carer for this little person, to having to go back into the workplace and, you know, reintegrate yourself back into being a social human being. Yeah, that was definitely difficult. I know you lose your confidence, most definitely.
I can relate to that, being a mum myself and going through that. I definitely went through that as well. But there's a big chunk that was left out there, and that is because I know you. That first experience with motherhood wasn't that easy, and don't feel like you need to go into that, but there were issues that were attached to your first child, right? So and knowing that could have had a lot to do with that instability and returning back to the workforce. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, because my first child was born at 27 weeks, so he was really premature. Um, and I guess, that can set you up for feelings of insecurity. And, you're so focused on doing everything you can to get your child to where they need to be. You lose sight of yourself, basically. You lose sight of who you are and what your role is in life. So I guess it
Mm,
can, definitely have that impact.
yeah. Yeah. And, there'll be a lot of mums out there that are listening to this that can relate to that, what it takes to separate from, the workplace, your career, your business, raise children and go through all the things that you do go through. And then try to be this other person at the same time. It's not always that easy to disconnect and reconnect to that persona that we have in the workplace. So, yeah, I think that's a beautiful message that you're sharing right now. And that helps other mums, like I said, to understand the journey and how it can affect our confidence. Yeah. Okay. So being aware of that season, what do you feel has helped you to grow in confidence as you've stepped back into your industry in the workplace? What do you think's helped you to grow that confidence with speaking in recent years?
Yeah, I guess, having a mentor like you has certainly helped me to reintegrate back into work life. But I think some of the main things for me have been ensuring that I'm authentic to myself, and having that authentic approach and knowing that being myself is enough, and that really I'm only having to prove myself to me. So just knowing that, at the end of the day, I am enough. And being knowing that being present and connecting with your audience is really important. So when I'm in the moment, or if I'm just about to deliver a speech of any sort, just taking a moment to really be present with myself and also with the audience. Not getting up there and flicking through my phone and being distracted by other things, just by really connecting with who I'm speaking to, and I guess being prepared and having an understanding as to what they might be expecting to get out of whatever it is that I'm speaking about. Another thing that I found really helped me earlier on was being able to visualize as well. So visualizing myself before I'm even at the place that I'm supposed to be speaking at, and seeing that, I do get through it, and at the end of it, it's all good,
Yeah, perfect. So you've learned techniques to prepare your nervous system, to soothe your nervous system, to stay connected to who you are. Beautiful. Mm. Yeah. And that's all made a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
And it's something that you can continue carrying with you the whole way through. You don't ever sort of lose those techniques, and you just sort of build on them as you get more experience.
I love that. Okay, so in the work that you do now, communication is clearly very important. How would you say your role shaped the way that you listen and the way you speak with others now?
Yeah, well, I guess a lot of the types of conversations that I have in the role as the nurse manager it can be quite difficult conversations. You're talking to people about their journey through death and dying. And so, I feel it's just so important to initially acknowledge why it might be a difficult conversation for you. Identifying that it's expected that you will have an emotional reaction to those types of conversations, and that's why they are difficult conversations to have. But just making sure that you're prepared for those conversations, so don't go in blind. Make yourself aware of the situation and the environment that you're going into as well. One thing that's really important when you're having conversations of this nature with people is that you pull up a chair and you sit down beside them. It's a bedside manner technique that most physicians use if they're good physicians, but so many doctors have really poor bedside manner, and they'll stand at the patient's bedside and sort of they're looking down on them and they're not at the same level. So that can be perceived by a patient as they're not really connecting with them. So, making sure that the environment that you're creating to have those types of conversations is one where you can actually sit, connect with that person and listen to them on a deeper level, because quite often the conversations we're having do go really deep. And just having, I think, one of the really important listening techniques is just having that unconditional positive regard. So making sure that whatever the person has to say or however they're feeling, that you don't cast your own personal judgments on that. And it is what that person is experiencing. It's very much palliative care is about patient-centered care. So doing those types of things to ensure that you are focused on them and supporting them in a way that will hopefully give them a good death for them.
Yeah, really serious, deep work it would be. Yeah, I imagine quite helpful to have all of those strategies that you use to come into the space with respect. Wow,
yeah,
that's huge.
yeah. And to having that self-awareness that in order to be able to to carry out those types of conversations, that you are aware and you care for yourself. So, whether that be finding a good balance between your work and your personal life, but also having the awareness to, when you come out of those conversations, going, oh, that was really heavy, that's affected me, and I need to do something to process that. So, whether that be getting out into nature and going sitting with your feet in the creek, or just taking that time to really allow those types of conversations to be processed, which sets you up to have a bit of longevity where those things might affect you to the point where you feel like you can't continue on.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I have met palliative nurses who have said they can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing when the difference between when you need to have alone time and need to have time to speak with someone.
Yeah.
Is that support that you get in your industry?
It's support that I have seeked out myself. Yeah, I wouldn't say that the health industry in general is very good at supporting their workers to enable that self-care. Yeah, but I think it's an onus that you can also take upon yourself.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So for business professionals in your industry and people who are connected to your industry who feel nervous or self-conscious about speaking, what's some gentle advice or reassurance would you offer them?
I guess it's just important to be kind to yourself, be honest, and make sure that you explore and know what you're passionate about. So the best way to be confident is to have knowledge. So just tap into whatever part that you're expected to know that you find resonates with you, and just follow your passion. But yeah, just be authentic and develop a bit of your own mantra. Like whenever I am going into a situation where I know that I'm potentially going to feel uncomfortable, I say to myself, you've got this, and you're, you know what you're talking about. So yeah, you've got this, girl.
Nice. Yeah, creating that dialogue and support for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So that's
definitely
something
fun.
that you would pass on.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's a powerful share for others that are listening. So I really appreciate you going deep there and passing that information on as to what's been helpful and what you could offer to support others that are going through a similar situation. Okay, so as you continue sharing your voice in meetings or events within your industry, what message feels most meaningful for you to leave with people?
I guess just don't shy away from difficult, just embrace the challenge and know that you're capable and that you will conquer if you put your mind to it. And I guess just find joy in those challenges as well.
Beautiful. Lots of wisdom there. And how does it feel for you now after going through that journey of starting out confident and then through motherhood feeling like you weren't as connected with that self, that expressive self, to where you are now? How does it feel to be where you are now, would you say?
It's quite exhilarating to be able to look back on that journey and know that I am where I am now. And it's almost a relief as well. you know, there's a little part of me that goes, oh, you know, when my self-esteem was really low, you know, I wish it wasn't that low for so long, but at the same time, holding on to those regrets doesn't prove or provide me with anything. So yeah, it's exhilarating and it's a relief.
Nice. And do you think you'll ever go back to acting in theatre and singing again in the future?
I think, yeah, I can foresee that. I do. Yeah, I mean, I still do lots of singing in my life. Yeah, but I'm actually at the moment, we're doing a nurses education day, and I'm collaborating with a counsellor, and we're doing a presentation on communication skills in our setting. And I've already got scripts to do role plays, you know, show the nursing staff the correct ways to communicate and the ways that you can do it badly. And yes, and we were going through those yesterday, through the role plays and reading them out. And I was, you know, having heaps of fun doing it. So it felt really good.
Excellent. Oh, that's great to hear, because I've heard you sing and I love your voice. You have a powerful voice. So it'd be really great to see you return to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, last question. If you were, for your public speaking journey, if you were to have an animal totem for that journey, what is the first animal that comes to mind?
It's a leopard.
Nice.
I don't know if that's got anything to do with my leopard print pants that I have on today.
Well,
But
it might be just an indication of.
yeah. I sort of see the leopard as, you know, on occasions just sort of sneaking around, but then when it needs to pounce, it'll pounce.
Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Strong symbol.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Nikki. That was really great, just hearing your story and experiencing your side of the story in your industry, what you do, what you provide, and how you support yourself and others. I really appreciate you coming in today and chatting with me.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for being there for me over the years. It's been invaluable.
Oh, my pleasure. It's been a whole lot of fun and so much more, you know,
Yeah.
going through that journey together. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody who has been tuning in to this podcast today, and appreciate you checking us in. Please subscribe, like as you do, and see you in the next podcast. Bye for now.